So this week, I wanted to sort of do a podcast type of episode and talk about if there's any chance that you might be getting frustrated and thinking about quitting playing guitar. Now, I did quit for about 10 years, and so I thought it would be good to sort of share my story and share how it ended up to that point and what I did to get back to where I am right now. So, back in 1996, I started my full time guitar playing when I moved to Minneapolis. I moved to Minneapolis to go to a school there called Music Tech, and it was similar to Musicians Institute at the time, but it was in the Midwest, so it was a lot cheaper. So after going to the school, right out of the gate, I was playing around town a little bit and also doing other gigs outside of town. Now, also, a lot of times people, needed a sub or they needed somebody to cover a spot for a weekend or different things like that. And I was able to end up working my way into some of those positions. The gigs started getting farther and farther and farther out of town. So by 2001, I was playing full time in casinos, fairs, and festivals and doing that sort of thing. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. After doing that for 2 years, I was ready to come off the road and sort of start a life somewhere else. And I ended up doing that in Minot, North Dakota, which it was a pretty good place. Like, it's small, right? But it was still one of the few places where they had music 6 nights a week. So I was able to teach private lessons, stay in town, and still play quite a bit. But even though I was doing all that, I just started feeling like things weren't going anywhere. Like I was just spinning my wheels and nothing was happening. And right around that time, there was the talk about the anxiety, depression type of stuff. And so I sought out a doctor and they put me on this medication. In which at first it was fine, but as the dosages kept going and going, I started caring less and less. Like it was like the flame was starting to kind of burn out. Now, I'm not saying that it's good or it's bad. I'm just saying this is my personal experience with it. So take it as you will. But it definitely affected my creative side more so than what I would have thought. Now, while all this is going on, I did not kind of see it, right? Like when you're in it, you don't necessarily see it the same way. So right around 2005, I was just at a point where nothing was happening. Playing wasn't fun for me anymore. It was quite a bit like a job. Anytime I tried to write, I was just in this really, really bad place mentally. And, coming from that linear way of thinking too, like I just felt like I wasn't going to go anywhere else. I ended up quitting right around 2005, and I was done with it for about a year, and things started getting even worse for me after I'd quit, right? Like, there was a lot of times where I didn't really, like I was searching for something. I didn't really feel like I was, even though those were all smaller gigs and different things like that, the guitar actually provided a source of stability in my life where I was practicing consistently. I was looking forward to certain shows, certain gigs, certain things. I was looking forward to teaching and all that stuff. So when I quit, I did not realize that that was going to happen because I'd been playing guitar since I was 13 years old. So it had always been a part of my life. Now, how could I end up quitting for 10 years and not realize what was going on? Well, there's a lot of factors that goes into that. And the biggest one for me was the medications that I was on. It really affected the way I thought about playing music and my creativity. It just kind of turned the switch off, right? Right around 2015 or so, I come off a lot of the medications, and my nephew wanted a guitar. So I bought him a guitar and set it up. And then all of a sudden it was like the fire came back. Like it was just like I was a kid again, and really enjoying playing again, you know. And so then I knew, well, okay, it's time to start back up again. I did not think that I was going to do anything, absolutely nothing with it. It was something that I felt like I needed to do to save my soul, to be honest with you. I didn't care about playing gigs. I didn't care about doing any of that stuff. All I wanted to do was play the guitar and just have fun and just really enjoy it like I did when I was a kid. I just on a whim went to an open mic night. Man, you want to talk about the greatest feeling in the world. Like, after I played those two songs, I felt like I was back home. You know, like it felt so right and so genuine that, okay, now we can maybe try to find a band or, you know, do something like that. So I just kept going to these open mics, and eventually I was back to subbing and getting hired for other gigs. But my whole point about getting back to playing was that I really needed to do it for myself. So if you're feeling frustrated about playing, there's things that you can do that you don't necessarily have to quit like I did. If you can set your mind up to the point of like, okay, this is just a different chapter. Maybe I got to look at it a different way or something like that, rather than have that whole, you know, just screw it, I'm just going to quit, you know, would be a good way to go about it. Now, if you're in your beginning stages and you're having frustrating thoughts about being able to play different songs or solos or things like that, just break it down into even smaller steps, right? Even if it's just one note, right? Like, even if it's two notes or one note or whatever, like instead of saying I'm going to learn this Jimmy Page solo, you know, in the afternoon or whatever, just be like, I'm going to learn the first 8 bars of this solo and get it down right, and just break it down that way. Also, that's another way in your practice time that you can do things too, is break things down even more so than what you normally would, because whenever I do that, it just really helps me understand where I'm going with something that I'm learning. I hope this video helps, and I'd be very interested to hear any of your guys' stories on why you're feeling this frustration. Don't feel like you're the only person in the world to feel this frustration, because we all go through it. If you just sort of think about it as a marathon and not a sprint, and, you know, even if you have to step away for a little bit and come back to it, that's fine too. Maybe you get a new idea of which way you want to approach your guitar playing, and which that's all in the process of us growing and learning. So anyway, please give this a like, share, subscribe, and we will talk to you on the next one. Thank you.